Hey everyone, my name is Shane Schlesman. I'm lead pastor here at West End Assembly of God. And as you can see before me, there's a tank, and we are getting ready to do a baptism, a special baptism service on site. And I am here with a special guest, Private First Class Logan Collins. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you. It's an honor. I'm really excited.
Logan, we met on Easter Sunday right here at West End Assembly of God. You had a relationship with us before you came and connected, and then fell out of church a little bit, and in your life went through a lot of transformation. And when I walked in the worship center, you immediately stood up and grabbed my attention and wanted to talk with me, and you wanted to tell me how God had changed your life. And we want to share a little bit of that transformation with you. In fact, why we're here with a baptism pool, because that's exactly what baptism is about. It's about crossing a line of faith, really portraying and going public with the transformation that God has done, perhaps privately, and now baptism is a symbol of what he's done in our lives, and what was dead and now is alive again, just like Jesus in our lives have been transformed. And baptism is just a picture of that. And you asked me after the service, I want to be baptized. So the trouble is that Logan is being shipped out pretty quickly, so we couldn't even really wait till Sunday morning. We had to figure out a special way to do this, and so we wanted to capture some of that as well. But Logan, tell us a little bit about really what led up to this. Take us back a little bit, because a lot transpired when you told me God has changed my life.
So I grew up in a really, really good household. I had an amazing family. They were loving, they were supportive, and extremely accomplished. My mother has 5 college degrees.
Wow.
One from UVA, 2 from VCU, and 2 from JSarge.
Wow.
And my father played football at the University of Virginia, and now runs an extremely successful business. Growing up, I felt like I just had a lot of pressure, and they didn't put it on me in any way.
Right.
It was just, I felt like I had such big shoes to fill.
Sure.
So I tried to do everything I could to be like them. My dad, playing football, I decided, hey, I want to play football too.
Right.
My mom being so smart, I was like, oh, I really hope, I'm doing good in school. But neither one of those things really, neither one of them happened.
Yeah.
I was never that great at football. I was always smaller and weaker than most of the other guys, and school was extremely difficult.
Wow.
Throughout my 4 years of high school, I failed a lot.
Wow.
I had to go to summer school my freshman year, which I actually ended up failing as well.
Wow.
And things didn't get that much better. Football wasn't going too hot. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed certain things of it, but I really didn't feel like I was making my family proud, and that really got to me. So
the pressure's mounting and mounting, and you're underperforming at your own standards and, of course, the standards that you've been handed. Did you make it out of high school? How much of a struggle? It sounds like a horrible struggle. Did you make it out?
I got out of high school, and out of 321 in my class, I finished 300th.
Right.
I was right at the bottom. I didn't have any college offers from anywhere. I didn't have any looks. I didn't have a plan.
Wow.
And I think a lot of the stress built up during those 4 years of high school, and I couldn't find an outlet. I unfortunately turned to stress eating, and by my senior year, I got up to about 295 pounds.
Wow.
When I graduated.
So you're just trying to cope with all of this stress. You find this outlet, and now you're putting on a huge amount of weight.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't a good outlet. I couldn't stop. I couldn't control myself.
Yeah.
I would have breakdowns, and all I could do was just eat. And I had a lot of I had a lot of rough nights.
Wow.
I would come home and I would isolate myself from everybody, and I would cry. I would just break down, and I was really angry at God. I was really angry. I kept asking him, why me? Like, why am I going through this? What did I do to deserve this? Like,
Right.
all I want to do is be successful, like my family. Like,
Right.
why can't I? Why can't I do that?
It worked for them. Why is it not working for me?
Exactly. Even my little sister, she's the most gifted athlete I've ever met my entire life.
Wow.
So I was surrounded by everybody that I felt could do it except for me.
Wow.
And I was in church during that time through high school. I was introduced to WEAG in 2017, somewhere in there, and I fell in love with it. Sundays were great. I enjoyed coming and hearing you speak, but then it didn't get better.
Yeah.
It actually got worse.
It didn't take away the depression. It didn't take away the struggle. All the struggle was still waiting for you every time you left.
It mounted. It got even worse
Wow.
as time went on in 2017. I kept getting bigger and bigger. So the fall of 2017 was my worst. I hit 310 pounds. I was at 37% body fat. I had just dropped out of my first semester at junior college. I decided right after high school, I'll give JUCO a shot. 4 Fs and a D. Dropped out. I gave up on church. I was extremely angry at God, and there was a time where I really didn't know what was next, and it was without a doubt the worst time of my life.
We're talking about depression. You were living that.
Yes, sir.
What was that like going through that? I mean, just hard to get up, there's no motivation, and now the anger is building on top of that, it sounds like.
Anger was a huge factor. Anger and fear were the biggest two. I was so angry at myself because I felt like I had let everybody down. I felt like I really didn't feel like I was worthy of my last name at that point.
And no one's communicating this to you. This is a feeling you have, which I think a lot of people who might be watching are probably thinking, well, maybe people are insulting you or coming at you. And not that you can't get through high school without that happening, but this is a feeling that's overwhelming you of not being able to live up, it sounds like.
It really, yeah. It was very hard. I would just question, why can they do it and I can't? So November of 2017 was the worst. That's when I hit my biggest and my worst point of depression and size. And to this day, I can't explain it. But I went upstairs in my room and I had a breakdown, and I looked in the mirror and something clicked. Something just sparked in my head. I think God really reached out to me at that time.
Wow.
And I realized that this is my life. This isn't my family's. This isn't my. I'm not trying to be my dad. I'm not trying to be my mom. I'm not trying to be my sister. And up until that point, that's all I was trying to do.
Right.
I wasn't living to find myself. And I
So
told myself,
ironically, you looked in the mirror and said, this isn't about them anymore. This is about me.
in a way, everything I do is for them. Everything I do is for family. But at the same time,
But you wanted to make a change for you now.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, all right, this is my life. I'm going to take control of it now.
Wow.
And I went to the gym. So
That must
that
have
was
been a really difficult beginning.
It was hard. I would walk in the gym and I would just I would stick out like a sore thumb. I was this big, massive guy, and I mean, hey, like that's the point of a gym.
Right.
But I felt personally like I stuck out more than anyone. I was this big, massive guy who really didn't know what to do or where to go. Um, and up until that point, every time that I faced something like that, I would give up on it. This was the first time that I stuck with it. So the month from November to December of 17, I stuck with the gym for a little bit. I lost about 10, 15 pounds maybe. So New Year's Day, I was about 300 pounds. And I was with my buddy that night. And I was actually with a couple of friends that night. And I told him, I was like, you know what? For the first time in 10 years, 8 to 10 years, I said, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. And they said, no, you're not. I said, no, I am.
We know you. It's
That's,
not going to
that's
happen.
exactly what they said. I told them, no, I am. They go, no, dude, you're not. Like, we know you. They told me, like, we don't mean to be blatant, but you give up whenever things get hard.
Oof, wow.
Like, one of them told me, like, you're always going to be this big guy.
Wow.
And that's when I realized that it wasn't just the circumstances I was putting myself in, it was the people that I was affiliating myself with. I didn't have a good group around me.
Wow.
So 2018,
You were never going to be able to make a transformation as long as they were pulling you.
they were
back.
pulling me back.
Wow.
Exactly. So 2018 hit, and I said, all right, I'm getting rid of the negative people, the negative thoughts. This is a new year. I'm taking control of my life. In the 6 months, I went from 300 pounds to 225.
Wow.
And
75 pounds in 6 months.
yes, sir. I went from 300 to about 225.
Really 85. You count that just the month before. I mean, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
315 to where I was, 310 to where I was.
Yeah.
So that 6 month period, I was just in the gym constantly. I was surrounding myself with better and happier people that wanted to succeed, wanted me to succeed, and that really helped me out a lot. So I'm starting to feel a little bit better, and as time went on, I became happy, and I started to surround myself with a great group, and it still felt like I was missing something.
You were digging your way out of this hole,
Exactly.
finding purpose for this physical transformation and this huge result, but yet something still was lacking.
I had no plan. I didn't know where I was going still, and that mattered a little bit.
Wow.
So I was like, I really need something to do. Like, yeah, this is great, but how long can you just stay at home and, work out every day? Like, it's fun and all, but it's time to start, taking control of your life, not just right now.
Right.
So I went to my father, and I told him, hey, Dad, I'm thinking about joining the military. He was on it like white on rice right off the bat. He was, oh, it's awesome. Let's go. Like, let's go right now. It's a fantastic idea. And I told my mother, and she was nervous, but
She had a little different reaction.
a little.
Yeah.
She wanted me to. She wants me to be successful.
But they both saw the structure and the plan and those kinds of things as being a benefit for you too.
It came around.
Yeah.
At first, I think it was more of they thought, maybe he just wants to escape college, or maybe he just wants to escape that route. But once I discussed my plan with them and actually told them like what all the Marine Corps can do for me, they came around. They were on it. So
Well, and thank you for making such a courageous decision like that, and thank
you.
you for your service.
Thank you. It was a Monday, and I went to go talk to a recruiter. I just wanted some basic information about the Marine Corps. I just wanted to hear, what it could do for me. That Wednesday, 2 days later, I was I was heading down to MEPS to be sworn in, and that Friday, I officially became a United States Marine Corps Poolee
Wow.
in the delayed entry program. I wasn't ready to go just at the time. I still wanted a little bit of time to better myself and my relationships with everybody. And one thing that I'm extremely proud of in 2018 is I beat complacency. I used to be so content with where I was at. I would get satisfied. I would stop. I would give up, and then it would just fall right back to where I was. 2018 really helped me realize, like, you can never be satisfied with where you're at. I always strive to be better. I always strive to, I look in the mirror every single morning, and I say, what am I going to do today to better myself from yesterday?
Wow.
And I look at myself in the mirror every night. I say, did I give it all today? I
So
can't.
this newfound driven purpose, now you're signed up, you're leading up to the Marine Corps, you're getting fitter and fitter and fitter and getting ready for this new challenge ahead of you, right?
Yes, sir. The ship date originally was in February. I think it was February 19th. That was the day that I was supposed to be going, but I got a call in January. They were like, hey, are you ready? And I told them I went from 310 in November of 2017, and by January 1st, 2019, I weighed 185 pounds at 12% body fat.
Wow.
So
That is remarkable.
That really
Congratulations.
Thank
That is
you.
incredible.
that was a really good foundation, I felt like, for me to head down to boot camp. So when they called me and said, hey, are you ready? I said, absolutely. This is kind of where God started coming back in my life. They told me what day I'd be shipping, and I was, all right, I'm all in. And they told me what day I'd be graduating. I'd be graduating on my father's birthday,
Wow.
April 19th, from boot camp. So Dad was telling me, when I was texting him that night that I got the call, I was like, hey, Dad, I'm shipping out on January 22nd. I'll be graduating on your birthday. He was like, that's God right there. So I told him, I was like, yeah, absolutely. But, I really wasn't there still. I had given up. And even during that amazing 2018, I really didn't turn back to God for anything. I was still very angry at him for putting me through, all the hard struggles that I went through. I would still, every time I would think about it, I'd be like, why did he put me through that?
So you had found something to spark. God put this spark in you. And it seems like maybe you used the spark and you got this new drive in you, and you began to have passion again and began to find your way. But you were the one digging your way. You said that to me on the phone the other day. You said, I was one digging myself out. But then something amazing happens. If anyone doesn't know what Paris Island is about, okay, why don't you give us a little bit of background into what Paris Island is about, because their goal is to break you. So whatever you had and whatever was lacking, they were going to find it, right?
Oh yeah, Paris Island, it breaks you down. It's a 13-week complete transformation from civilian to Marine. There's nothing else like it. There's no video that can do it any justice. There's no, I honestly don't know if any story I tell can be, amount to it. It's
they grind you into dust and build you back up again.
Absolutely. It's a culture shock from the very beginning. You're cut off from everything outside of just handwritten letters. You don't get to hear, see anything like that with your family, friends, or anything. But
so this, Logan, had a big impact on you, you told me.
Absolutely.
Because now you're being ground into dust.
Absolutely.
You're being the pressure. Isn't it amazing how when pressure comes on you, whatever's inside of you or whatever's not inside of you shows up? And you found a breaking point. There was a point in here where you were just grinding out and you were discovering that something was missing.
Yeah, it was actually pretty early on too. I got down there and I couldn't call my family every day like I did. I couldn't see my friends all the time like I did. And it was within the first 2 weeks that I realized, like, what is missing? And it was Sunday morning. It was our second week down there. They were like, all right, who's Christian in here? Most hands went up, and there was only like 3 or 4 of us that didn't raise our hand. And at first, I didn't raise my hand, but one of the best things that happened was I instantly shot my hand up right at the end there. They were like counting, and I shot my hand up at the last second. Originally, I just raised my hand to get away from the drill instructors for a little bit.
Right. So if you said you were a Christian, then they would give you a provided place to worship or a time to worship.
Yes, sir. We had an amazing services down.
Yeah, I'm Christian. Yeah. Can we get that break too? Yeah.
It's 2 extra hours away from
Yeah,
everything
okay.
on
Right,
Sunday,
you.
and you get music and service. So everyone was like, okay, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
jump on that.
Yeah.
But for me, I only did it at first to get away from the drill instructors and just
Yeah.
have a little bit of free time, I guess.
Yeah.
And this is where God was reintroduced to my life.
Wow.
I get down to the first service, and I'm sitting with my buddies, and I'm like, I'm not even crazy about this sort of stuff. It's whatever. Amazing Grace was played. It was the very first thing. And this feeling of, I don't even know how to describe it. I really don't know how to describe it. It's unlike anything I ever had. But during that song, it felt like God was just talking directly to me. And as the service went on, I became more into it. And when that first service let out, I remember during the closing prayer, I apologized to God. And I said, if you get me through this, if you help me through these next 13 weeks, I will never give up on you again.
Wow.
I will get back into church. I will be baptized. I will serve you through my entire life. And every week, church got better and better. I read the Bible all the time down there. We had free time on the island for an hour a night. I would be reading my Bible. Everyone else would be, kind of doing their thing. I was there on my Foot Locker reading. I read all of Matthew. I found some of my favorite verses in Psalms, and the one that meant the most to me was Jeremiah 29:11. When I read that one,
I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord.
plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future.
Wow.
That right there, I felt so much lifted off my shoulders. I apologized to him, and I can't understand how he can love someone like me so unconditionally.
Wow.
And that really saved me.
Amazing grace.
Exactly. He saved the wretch. I was at my worst point, and instead of turning to the one that had the plan for me the most and loved me unconditionally, I was angry and I gave up on him.
Wow.
And that is something that I definitely regret, but
Wow.
just the forgiveness that I felt when I came back on Easter Sunday. I had my stepbrother and my little sister with me here for your service, and being back here at WEAG, when I was saying my prayer, that church service, that first one, for some reason I instantly thought of WEAG. This was the church that I was in the longest, I felt the most comfortable in. I was like, you know what, if you get me through this, I will go back. I will be with you, forever.
You'll go back to WEAG.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
When I was out in Paris Island, I thought of WEAG. So I got through the 13 weeks, graduated, and I came back. And on Easter Sunday, I was with my little sister and my stepbrother. And when I saw you and when I heard you preaching the sermon, I felt so much forgiveness, and it just felt like I belonged, like being here again and being in God's house.
Yeah.
I felt at home. I felt safe. I felt happiness.
Wow.
And that's something that is just unmatched to anything. It's
You-
unparalleled.
You told me how you almost renewed a commitment and said, God, I'm here. I want this to be a forever change,
Yes, sir.
not just a moment. I want it to be a forever changed. And you immediately asked me, can I be baptized?
Yes, sir.
Why
That
did
was
you
the-
ask me that?
That was the first thing that came to mind on the island. They were offering baptisms, and originally I was going to do it, but it was, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like, I don't feel like this is the place or the time. So when I came in on Sunday, I knew I had a short amount of time, and I had to find somewhere. So I came back to WEAG, and I had, when you came up and we shook hands, I had to immediately ask you, like right off the bat. I was like, hey, this has to happen. And luckily we were able to get something, done here.
Hey,
But-
when a Marine asks, we make it happen.
That's I really don't know. Like I just feel like I want to serve the Lord.
Yeah.
I know that through however long my career in the Marine Corps is going to be, and throughout my entire life, there are going to be times where it gets challenging, it gets hard, it gets scary. You might not know what to do sometimes, and that's when it's good to have the Lord. It's good to have the Lord all the time. But when I during the crucible, here's a good example. During the crucible, we were getting destroyed. It was
Which is a part of the boot camp training where they push you to the absolute brink.
the crucible is the 54-hour event right at the end of the 13 or the 11 weeks at that point. It's a 54-hour event, and it is the most challenging, brutal thing that up to this point of our lives that any of the recruits have ever done.
Wow.
And being able to pray and talk to God really, really, really helped me get through the crucible. And at one point, there was one night where we were doing the death march. We had the ammo cans. We were exhausted. It was heavy. I was just the whole time I was just talking to God,
Wow.
and it felt like it went by like that.
Wow.
So I told him, like, I need to be open with this. This is something
Yeah.
that I'm proud of. This is something that I'm, honored to be a part of. Like, I want to show my love for, Jesus. And the only way I could think to do that was, why not be baptized in the place that I'm most comfortable? So.
Wow, that's phenomenal. I'm amazed by your story, Logan, and I hear in you how God sparked this interest and opened a door again for purpose in you, and
Yes, sir.
purpose and hope. And you attempted on your own to dig your way there.
Yes, sir.
You lost 100 pounds. You signed up for the Marine Corps, and then when you were put under the crucible, the pressure of the island and Paris Island, God revealed what was missing. You'd been walking through the valley of the shadow of death, but there was still a reason to fear
Yes, sir.
because God wasn't with you.
Exactly. That was the missing link, was God. And that is why I am just so
Wow.
grateful that I decided to go to Paris Island. That place saved my life.
Not everyone who
God.
goes there necessarily finds God, but that's what happened for you.
I found
What
God.
a transformation. You experienced a physical transformation, and it sounds like now you've experienced the internal transformation. That transformation's forever.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir. Found God on Paris Island.
That's awesome. Well, I want to congratulate you
Thank you.
for coming back, keeping your promise to God, and then stating and saying, I want baptism to mark this moment. So that's what we're about to do. We're going to mark this moment. And always remember, this was the turning point. You've had your turning point. You've had your physical and your spiritual transformation. This is just a way to mark that spiritual transformation that says, this transformation lasts forever. I'm
Beyond
excited to
excited.
do that with you.
Beyond excited.
All right, well, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right,
Awesome.
good deal, man.
Yes, sir.
We've enjoyed hearing your story, but this is a moment to mark what God has done in your life. And these waters don't do anything to save you. Jesus has already done that.
Yes, sir.
This is about marking this moment and saying forevermore what God has done with you in private and changing the inside out. You now go public and say, the whole world, I'm a follower of Jesus. So Logan, let me ask you, do you make a commitment to follow Jesus with the rest of your life?
Yes, sir.
And it's my pleasure to baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is new life, man.
That's the best feeling in the world. That's the best feeling in the world.